for me that's very important because I mean, there are so many courses like this. I could not agree more with everybody and what everyone has said, including you, Somesh. And well, first of all, is really a lot of gratitude and warmth, actually, because I see and I feel, you know, how much you put in the course, not just in a practical sense, but really I feel the heart in it, and for me that's very important because. I mean, there are so many courses like this I've seen all the time on my Facebook feeds and things like how to publish and things. And in a way, I have to accept that I had a little bit of resistance always for these things, also for a little bit like Joy, like how you market your music, because at the end, as a musician, it is you who you have to also put yourself out there as a product in a way, like, and that feels very strange sometimes. You know that it is if I was selling something, an object, it's very easy to sell. But if you are putting yourself in a way, it's very. I always had a bit of difficulty with that. But it's, I think it's, yeah, very important to understand at some point also this, that is our music or ourselves as musicians is it's just it's the gift, and it's not there's nothing wrong to share it, and there is nothing we had, I think, coming from this hook, you know, like this kind of blockage sometimes, at least I had it for a while, that I had to overcome. And actually this course also has helped me with that, because, and when I mean, I saw you working on the Sacred Sound Festival and how you prepared everything, how you guided the whole community there, and I was really amazed and impressed by how you worked and how you did that. So when you came up with this, I mean, of course, I say, well, okay, if Somesh is doing it, then I'm in. I want to join. And yeah, I'm very happy I did, because of course it has helped so much in the practical sense. I must accept that also it came in a moment that I've been very busy, so I didn't have the opportunity yet to go through all the materials. I've logged in and just had a kind of like a scan of what is coming, and I'm planning to go through all of it. But I see, like, yeah, the amazing work that you do to kind of like from a huge how to say, like a huge universe of information, how you can actually synthesize everything and structureize for us, and that's huge, and I'm very thankful for that. And also how you know, you give it in the step by step. That's very helpful, really, very helpful. I did my first live Instagram thanks to this course also, otherwise I would not have done it. So I see that it was pushing me also in a sense to do things that I was still a little bit hesitant to do. I feel a little bit sad with myself that I feel I didn't take as much as I know I could or I should. I feel very much behind, for example, with the Telegram group. I just could not catch up. To start with, I'm a bit bad with chats, but also I was a bit late to join in, and then I didn't join because I thought I want to read all the messages from the beginning, and they kept coming on, and it was this tsunami of messages, and I still haven't gone through it, and I said, okay, I don't think I will manage, but actually I do want to give myself the time to, because I know people have been sharing their music and their things, so I do want to go through that. My only suggestion at one moment was like maybe a platform, sometimes like Trello, you know, that can be nice, that there is, or something like that, that where like the bits of very valuable information, like where people share their music or the tracks or things, that is easy to access or easy to see where they are. No, of course on the group I can also find it. Just I see, like, if you were like me, that you didn't catch up in the beginning, and then you want to catch up and then go through all the messages to catch, okay, who is releasing what, and you want to see, it's a bit more difficult, but of course it's possible. And I mean, I really love this group of people, Some of you I got to know a little bit more than others, and I would really love to, yeah, to connect with all of you and to catch up. My only suggestion maybe will be nice to do a song together actually, not to at some point. It will be a very nice way to kind of round up these kind of courses, because at the end we are a group of musicians, so it will be so lovely to collaborate on something creative. That's my only little suggestion. And thank you.
Hey, that's a great idea. That's an amazing idea. Have you seen those where they
I could not agree more with
everything Nalini says. Basically, through the pandemic lockdown sort of scenario that we've been through in the last year, and all my gigs going, I really sort of lost purpose with my music, other than just for my own health and well-being, and this cause has been a real answer to prayer, Samesh. And the things that you said, like on the first Zoom call and the second one, just of, and that you continue to say, but just kind of felt like immersed in your reality of our music is, important for the world, and that there are people who want to hear it, and that there is a place for it to land. And it's not that, we have to find them. It's just, we just keep doing our thing and sharing our love and making ourselves available so that people created this community.
Hey, Jennifer, welcome. Welcome. I'm just going to. I'm getting some feedback. I'm just going to carry on playing this one testimonial. And I probably, because I wasn't sharing sound at the same time. So let's try that now.
Yeah, it's been amazing. I can say that now, but definitely it's been I feel like I've been the teenager of the group and rebelling and like, yeah, resisting marketing. But mainly it's because of, I think I've been used to spending a lot of time in nature and people, and the jump from kind of being very intuitive and very community based and then going into digital platform was a real tantrum. And I had to spend a couple of weeks, I think, to really find way to connect with marketing and find my language, and I think I managed to break through some things for sure. Like it's now like, for me, it's like an art tool. And I really appreciate that. I really loved the buddy system. That was really supportive. And I loved, Maria was really great for me as well. Like I'm quite kind of, yeah, I'm quite a sensitive, intuitive being, like probably everyone here. And I feel like Maria at one point was like, just gave the language for me. And she said something really beautiful, I remember, and said, we were saying it's like the marketing is like a tree, and like the course is like putting like a safeguard around the tree so that the sapling can grow, and that like each song we put into the world is like a seed. And then there's like all these signposts that kind of guiding people to that tree. So I was like, that makes sense to me. I can I can function like that. So yeah, so that would be my sharing, is just acknowledging maybe also different kinds of people that might come on the course. Maybe there's more intuitive people. I was a bit overwhelmed a little bit by the amount of information, and using my rational brain, I think that went to sleep a couple of years ago. So yeah, stirring that part of my brain up has been good. But yeah, overall it's been a good push towards stepping up and out, and I'm feeling more confident. And I love your space holding, Samesh. Thank you so much. And to all of you, you're so knowledgeable, and I was just like, wow, that was definitely a bonus. So thank you. Yeah, so much information for a lifetime. Thank you so much, everyone.
Oh, you're welcome, Joy. And I'm sure there's lots of people in the same place, having to make this transition from, you know, just being sensitive, not.
Yeah, it's been.
Okay, welcome to day 4 of the 5-day free challenge, Master Music Releases. I'm just trying to work out why my phone is making so much noise. Okay, let's put it over there. So, the 5 steps to a perfect music release. Welcome to day 4. So this is again just a recap, the beginner's guide. This is stage 1. And this is if you're new to releasing music, or you don't have a lot of time, or you don't have a lot of budget. And then we're going to do 5 steps. The first step is your planning step, your planning phase. I'm actually going to close this down, sorry. Your first step is your planning phase. Your step 2 is your preparation. Your step 3, implementation. Step 4 is your launch, and step 5 is your post-launch. So why do we do it in these phases or these steps? basically what this does is gives you a framework of taking a whole launch, which can be over the course of 4 to 6 weeks. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to release music on an ongoing basis. Yesterday during the webinar or the class, I was explaining that a 4-week launch cycle is the best. Okay, it just is the best. Okay, I'm going to go into a few reasons. I did that yesterday as well, but basically the main reason is we're focusing on a Spotify release. Why are we focusing on a Spotify release? Because just it's the best thing to focus on. Like, we got to focus on something. We might as well focus on Spotify. Spotify, if you look at the stats in terms of the distribution channels for music, is 80% of the distribution. So like 80% of the people that are listening to music online through distributors or through channels are listening on Spotify. So it's a good thing to focus on. Good. So the reason why we do 4 weeks, or we're planning for 4 weeks, and I'm not saying everybody can do 4 weeks, but 4 weeks is a good thing to aim for, is because we're trying to stay in the Spotify sort of algorithmic, we're trying to activate this algorithmic thing. And an algorithm is basically you telling Spotify, one, that you're a serious musician, that you're active, and that you're releasing music on a consistent, regular basis. So when you release music on a 4-week cycle, and that also means you stay within this one particular playlist called the Release Radar. Now, I actually went to Moshe Halperin's artist account in Spotify, and actually Release Radar is the number 2 amount, the second from the top. Actually, the radio is the top, but Release Radar is the second for the amount of streams that Moshe has received over the last year and a half, or however long. And the reason is because every time you do a release, your release stays on Release Radar for 4 weeks. Okay, that means when somebody goes to your song, they listen to your song, the next thing you're trying to promote, or you're trying to encourage people to do, is click on the follow button. When people click on the follow button, that means they become a fan. Okay, so you'll notice that if you go to Spotify and you're really interested in one particular artist, what are you going to do in order to keep in touch with them or keep updated with them? You're going to click on the follow button. That's going to add them or you to their fan list. And the same thing happens for you, right? So now you've got all these fans, and then when you actually release a track, Spotify goes out of its way to notify your fans, the people that have followed you, about your new release. And they do it in a number of different ways. But one of the ways is through this particular Spotify playlist called Release Radar. So the more you can stay on this Release Radar, number one, it gives you more sort of points when it comes to the algorithms, so that Spotify will notice you and put you on other playlists where you can further increase your chance to get more and more streams from people that Spotify will sort of promote your music to for free, right? Spotify is the most used platform out there. It's got the most users, and it has you have the biggest opportunity through Spotify to really get your music out to the most amount of people and make the biggest impact. And that's what we're trying to go for. So, I'm going to start an actual campaign for helping people to reach 1 million streams. That's my goal. My goal is to help and guide and coach one student or 2 students, hopefully just one first of all, to 1 million streams on Spotify. So that's what we're going to aim all our training at. All the training that we deliver, all the training that we provide is on this 1 million streams. How is it possible, one, to get to 1 million streams on Spotify? And what do you need to do in order to get to 1 million streams? So in this plan, or this plan that we're putting together to get you as an artist to 1 million streams, what is the easiest way to get there? And as we were saying, the first way to get there is to release music on a regular basis. Now, I do understand that a lot of artists are not going to be able to release music on a regular basis. 4 weeks is not really that long. Like, if you've got a whole lot of tracks sort of built up over time, and you've got like 10 or 12 tracks or whatever, and you've got them sitting on your hard drive, they're all mixed and they're mastered, then great. Then you can plan out this release cycle over 4 weeks. 4 weeks, 4 weeks, 4 weeks, 4 weeks. But say if you've just got one track, then it's a little bit difficult because you have to like release your track, you have to do the whole launch and release process, and then you have to record and you have to master and you have to mix. And 4 weeks is not really a long time to do a whole track. So I totally understand that. And that's why, you know, it's in the ideal circumstances, 4 weeks is perfect. And then in normal circumstances, you just do the best you can and try keep as consistent as possible. That's another reason why we advise to release tracks as opposed to albums, is that when you release a track, you can do this on a consistent basis, which means that you can activate the Spotify algorithms on a regular basis rather than just one big activation. Bang, you have like in the release radar, you have all your tracks there, and then for another 12 months, you've got nothing. So we want to avoid that as much as possible. We want to have this consistent release cycle. So maybe you've got 20 tracks available to release. That's awesome. You've never put them on Spotify. You've maybe got them on Bandcamp or SoundCloud. They're all ready to go. Then sure, release a whole album and then release your release cycle one every 4 weeks. That's great as well. But yeah, 4 weeks is where we're aiming at, is the ultimate sort of release cycle time frame. The second thing, I think, in order to get to 1 million streams, there's going to have to be an element of luck. Like, you know, one of your tracks is going to have to be a hit. Like people are just going to have like, you're going to have to just get lucky, and people are going to have to connect with one particular track. And that's the thing. It only takes one track to get, you know, hundreds of thousands, millions of streams. For example, Ayla Shafa, her one track, everybody can, you know, sort of connect with it, which is Vela con el Vento. If you go look on Spotify now, that track has 13 million streams. That's just one track out of all her. She's released, 3 albums plus a whole lot of singles. That's 30, 40 tracks in the last 5-6 years, right? So that one track has received by itself 13 million streams. So if you have good enough music and one track that's absolutely a hit wonder, and it absolutely kicks off, and you can just get million streams from just one track itself. So it's not out of the ordinary, and it's not impossible totally. But what you're going to do is if you follow a system and you follow certain basic sort of fundamental sort of things, you know, tactics or strategies, and you do the basics really well, what are you going to do is you're going to give yourself the best opportunity or the best possibility for that track to find the sort of the momentum and the impact, so that it has the best chance of getting to that level. And every time you do that with every single track, you get better and better at releasing. You do the basics, really well. If you can just get the basics down really well, then you give those opportunities the best opportunity possible. And so we're talking about the whole smorgasbord of artistic sort of ways of promoting and getting your music out there. That's everything from, making sure that the release is done really well. At the same time, you're building a fan base through your social media, through your posting lots of content. And then you're also, let's see, do we release a hit first or build up to it? That's a good question. That's a very good question. So a couple of things about that is that if you are starting out as a new musician, or say you got a new brand, you're a new brand name, maybe it's not the best to start with your biggest hit first, because, I would say, like, every single time you do a release, 1, you're going to make mistakes. 2, you have to get habits. You have to get some habits into place. 3, you have to sort of build a team. 4, you have to sort of build your social media sort of platforms. I would say if I had a hit, like a hit single that I knew would be really amazing, I wouldn't personally deliver it first or launch it first. I would do 2 or 3 tracks first. So I just get used to the process, start building up a fan base, start building up your Instagram, start building up your Facebook page, get used to the process. And then like hit your biggest single, because then you've got some preparation, you understand the process of releasing music. Two, you've built up a fan base, so maybe even an email list, so that when you release that track, it goes to an actual, like, there's some, like, momentum behind it. And two and three, you're not going to make so many mistakes, right? In the beginning, there's so many opportunities to make mistakes, leaving stuff out. It's just so overwhelming. There's so much stuff to do. That's generally, and you could say, okay, well, I want to put my best step forward and put the best track out there first. That's good. But personally, I would wait a few tracks into it as you get used to the process. Like once you've got a good strategy, like you've got a few good habits into place where, you're making use of all the tools that you have available, then you have a good idea of like what it's going to take in order to get a track to a certain level. Like your first track, your first release, you're gonna put a whole lot of effort in, and then you'll have an understanding, okay, like what is sort of the response I'm getting. You also have an understanding of the demographic, where your tracks are, your music, your sound, who is it connecting with? Like, is it connecting with like women and men? Is it connecting with just men, or just connecting with women? Is it connecting with people in a specific age range? Is it connecting with people in a specific country? And you're going to get all that from your demographic sort of statistics within Spotify artists. Okay, so it's really, really good, because once you're sort of understanding like who your music is sort of connecting with, then you can even, once you start putting in some advertising, so you start promoting your tracks on Spotify through Facebook ads or Instagram ads, then you can sort of target your adverts at that particular demographic in that particular country with those particular sort of interests. And so your advertising dollars are going to be much more focused. You're going to get a much more bang for your buck, should we say. Okay, so step one, planning. This is where you plan your track, okay? This is planning. This is where you put everything that you're going to do down on paper. And this is going to, what this is going to do, it's going to help you on those, because like a 4-week cycle is quite a long period of time, right? You've got 4 weeks. During that time, it's absolutely certain that you're going to get distracted. You're going to get, maybe you get a cold, or you get, something happens in the family that totally distracts you. Like, it's going to take your head out of the whole process. It's like you're doing a project, you're doing this launch, and you could get distracted. So if you have a planning document where you say every single day you've got exactly what you're going to do written out, okay, that's the most detail you can get. Is, okay, you're going to go every single day. On day 5, I'm going to change my Facebook banner to coming out now. It can be that detailed. On day 6, I'm going to launch my Facebook ad to my 30-second preview. On day 12, I'm going to release my music video. On day blah, 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 I'm going to do this. So it can be very, very, very detailed. You've got a step-by-step plan for what you're going to do for that release. Now, the other great thing is, like, because you're doing releases in a cycle, you know that this is not the last time you're going to do this planning. So what you're going to do is, like, you've got this planning doc, you're going to put loads of effort into planning it. So you're going to put all the days out. You're going to put your dates, your times, what you're going to do on those particular days. And then the next time you do your release, you've got that document. So all you do is make a copy of the document, change the name on the top, and now you can just change all the details, because now you've done the hard work in the beginning. You know what you did last time. You also know what results it achieved. And this time you might want to change some of the stuff. Maybe this time you've got more budget. Maybe this time you've got more time. Maybe this time you've got less time. So you can adjust it depending on the circumstances that you're at. Step 2 is your preparation. And this is where you get all your sort of your materials together. This is where you get your artwork, you get all that together, you get it all your artwork into one folder, get it ready to start. And then step 3 is your implementation, where you actually start posting everything. Step 4 is the launch. The launch day is like the day before the track gets released on Spotify, and the 2 days after. That's your launch sort of day. And then your step 5 is your post-launch. Those are what do you do in the weeks after the launch. Okay, there's still things to do. You can still For example, in the post-launch, you can thank people for all the efforts they put into sharing your track. You can release your lyric video. You can release your official music video. You can release a live video. So every single opportunity you can get to remind people about your track, this is where it is. You can send personal DMs, direct messages, thanking people for sharing your track. This is those great opportunities. Okay, so let's go a little bit more detail into not the launch. We're going to go into, let's go into, yeah, actually, like this is step 4. It's the launch. So, so the launch. Woo-hoo! Finally, the day is here. I'm going to make 1 million streams. So on your launch day, remember, this is basic. It can be highly complicated, highly complex, and it can be very, very simple as well. You've got the date and the time. That's going to happen, like this is the day before and then 2 days after. Okay, so first of all, the day before the launch, what you're going to do is you can change your Facebook banner to launching tomorrow. You're going to send a post out on Instagram, launching tomorrow. You're going to email your mailing list. Last time, please click on my pre-save link. This is it's launching tomorrow. You're going to share, release your images, share your pre-save, and you're going to PM all your friends and family, everybody you can, as much time as you can. You're going to say, hey, my launch of my track is coming tomorrow. Please do you mind sharing it and saving it on your Spotify? I'll remind you tomorrow. Okay, so that's your launch. So on the day of the launch, you're going to wake up in the morning, and your first thing you're going to do is you're going to check that the track is live. Okay, oftentimes some people, when they upload their track for releasing on Spotify, for some reason they set the date or the time like sometime in the afternoon, like, or maybe there's just been an error or something like that, and it's only live in the afternoon. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to wake up and go, hey, my track is live, go to Spotify and check my track, and actually it's not live. So the first thing you do, wake up in the morning, 5 o'clock, and you're going to go check that your track is live on Spotify. Once you know it's live, now you can spread it out to the world. Okay, now you're going to change your Facebook banner to say live now, or just released my track. And then you're going to put another image on your Instagram, live now, with a link to the track itself. You're going to share your track link as well. You're going to put it on your Facebook page, put on your Facebook profile page, and you're going to direct message all those friends and family that you warned yesterday to save your track. You're going to email your list as well. You can email your list. Your track is live. Okay. And this is the time where you're going to also start your advertising campaigns. Okay, this is the moment, the opportunity to start your advertising campaigns. So you're going to run adverts to Spotify through Facebook and Instagram. In fact, you can also do Spotify ads as well. If you really, really, really want to do well with the track and you want to give it a real boost, you're going to run ads to it. Okay. The other thing you can do, which is really amazing, is this is really good. This is a really good idea as well. The point is, like, if you share a particular track on Spotify, right? What normally happens is if somebody listens to that track on Spotify, basically Spotify will then, instead of queuing up the next track, which is your track, sometimes will actually queue up somebody else that's in the same genre. Okay, they've worked out based on this type of music, in this type of key, with this type of BPM, with this type of feeling, that there's all these other artists who play and make the same type of music. So Spotify knows that this artist over here is doing amazing, 5 billion streams. Yeah. So they're going to queue up that track next to below your track. As soon as a person who's listened to your track that you've just spent £10 on advertising to get listens to your track, okay, what's the next track that's going to come is going to come on the artist that Spotify are pushing. So how do we prevent this? How do we prevent us doing all the marketing and all the effort and all the work in order to get somebody onto our Spotify to listen to our track, only to lose them to one of the more accomplished artists? And how we do that is, instead of promoting just the track, okay, we promote a playlist. The playlist we call This Is whoever the name of the artist is. Okay, so you're going to call your playlist This Is Jennifer Pascal. This is Moshe Halperin. This is Tallulah Randall. This is Charlotte Maban. This is Sonny Davidson. Whatever the artist is, you're going to put your artist name, and then you're going to put all your tracks on that playlist. The question is, what if you don't have any other tracks? Well, in the beginning, that might be true. Okay, that might be true. But over time, like after 2-3 months, you're going to have more tracks, right? So you're just going to keep that. Initially, you might just do one track, but essentially what you want to be doing is you want to be promoting your playlist rather than just a single track. So if you send somebody to your playlist, like, this is my release, and you promote the playlist link, okay, they're going to keep you that person in your ecosystem, and they're not going to send them off to other artists within your own genre. Very, very, very good point, and very good tip, because that's going to save you a lot. Yesterday I also discussed remembering not to produce like 10-minute tracks, not to produce 12-minute tracks, all these really long tracks, which are wonderful, but what it does is it reduces the amount of streams and the income you can produce from Spotify. So the point is, as much as possible, to release radio edits on Spotify first. Okay, get people to listen to your track in the shortest possible time, so that if they really, really like the track, they're going to put that track on repeat and listen to it again. So for the price of one track, okay, you could get 2 or 3 or 4 listens, as opposed to releasing a really long track. The person listens to it for 10 minutes. They've had 10 minutes. They're like full up. They want to listen to something else. 3-minute track. Now they've listened to the track. They've got a nice warm up. They think, oh, I'd really like to listen to that again. I'm not really full. Okay. And then they listen to it again. You get 2 streams, and they might listen to it again or repeat. You get 3 streams. So that's generally how people work. So Jennifer says, it's important to do pre-save on Spotify. Yes. So the pre-save gives you the opportunity to promote your music up, before the day of the actual release, which is fantastic, because all that time that you spend promoting your music up until the release, like, what else are you going to promote? You're going to promote the name. You're going to try to remind people, hey, my track is coming out on the 25th of July. People forget, people get distracted. Nobody's ever going to remember that. But if you do your pre-save, okay, on the day of the release, your track will be dropped into the people who saved it into their Spotify sort of playlists, and you will already have a whole lot of listeners on your track. So the more you can promote up until the release, the more. And also what happens is, on the day of the release, the more the pre-save has been shared, the more people actually have that track, the bigger that spike in the algorithm is going to be spiked, okay? And you're going to get a bigger sort of, a bigger sort of boost. And that's what Spotify are looking for. Spotify are looking for that big boost. They're going to say, hey, this is a new artist, and they've just released this track, and this track has got a massive amount of support, and therefore we're going to look at it and possibly put on an editorial playlist. And if they do, automatically you'll probably get to 1 million streams. Literally, you've hit the jackpot. And not only will your whole, all your music sort of take advantage of that, but you'll never look back. You'll basically set. If you can get onto a one of the Spotify editorial playlists, basically the playlist editors in Spotify, who are actually human beings, they're not robots, have looked at 40,000 tracks that are getting released every single day and chosen your track out of all those tracks to promote. That is basically like winning the lottery. Can I put my other projects on the list of co-writes I have with others? I don't quite understand. Sorry, Jennifer. I mean my other bands that are not my name, and you know how I can separate my children family members. It's not for children specifically. If I make a playlist to promote with ads. Okay, so the issue is, right? The issue is, if you've been releasing music under another band name or another name or your own name, but that music has a specific like genre or theme or type of music, you've basically got an issue. Okay, your issue is that Spotify, with all its algorithms and all its stuff, have basically put you down as a children's music musician. Okay, like what are you going to do? Because now the minute you start releasing music under another genre with a different type of music, not only all your fans going to be confused, but Spotify is going to be confused. Spotify is not going to know who to put your music in front of. That is going to be a big problem. Okay, so if you've changed your whole genre, you've changed your whole style of music, you've changed your whole brand, I think it's best to just start off new with a whole new Spotify sort of artist name, like whatever it is, like brand new. Even if you, under a certain name, you've got 1,000 fans, those 1,000 fans are only listening to that music because it's a specific type of music. Okay, they might not just automatically, you think, okay, well, I've built up this whole fan base, now they're all just going to listen to my new music. That's not true. That's not true, and that's not the way Spotify see it. So this is a big decision you need to make, is that it feels like the logical thing to just carry on, okay, but it's going to be way more difficult because all of a sudden Spotify have got 1,000 people who like this particular type of music. Now you've released this type of music, Spotify doesn't know what to do with that. The algorithms and the computers can't like sort of compute that whole change, and you're gonna make them all confused. So personally, my recommendation would be to release the new music with a new type under a whole new brand. And I think I've seen this, like I think this has happened with Tallulah Rendell, is that she was releasing music for a long time under with a type of poppy type feel, and then she's gone on the more spiritual route. And I think it takes a while for you to sort of dilute the amount of people that were listening to your music before who are now not listening to your music. Because, for example, if somebody's listening to a pop type music and they've liked that, and then you sort of change your style and you start playing something different, and that person doesn't like it, one, that's going to drop off. Okay, you're not going to get those listens. And so Spotify is going to notice that. So they're not going to promote you because of that. And two, yeah, it's going to take you a while for Spotify, because Spotify are looking for, okay, so you've got 1,000 followers and you drop a track. How many of those followers are actually listening to the new music? Is it 5%, 10%, 50%, 80%? If it's 80%, you're going to get a lot better sort of response from Spotify, because Spotify are going to go, oh, well, okay, this new music must be in the same genre. It must be very much directed at my fans. The artist actually really knows who they're focusing their music on. And therefore, like, we're really, really clear that this music is really good for this type of fan. And then Spotify will, for example, promote it to more of those type of fans. So, for example, when you say at the bottom of your Spotify sort of playlist or your music, when it says also sounds like, or other people who listen to this artist also listen to this, that's how you're going to get some new streams and new followers. That'll probably be way more difficult with Spotify if Spotify are confused about who you actually are and what type of music you're actually playing. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense? So, Jennifer, what have you done? What have you done? So do I need to change my artist name? Yeah, you basically do. let's take a look. Let's take a look. Can you drop your link to your Spotify? Let's take a look at what you've been doing. I've seen your video. Your video is really good, but unless your audience is 5 years old, I don't think that's going to keep going, is it? I saw your video. Was that your video with the playing with the kids? It's really sweet. So cool. Really, really cool. Can you drop your link to your Spotify there? Okay. Cool. Okay, let's just do this. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, I'm going to share screen. I'm sorry, my sinuses are so bad because I've got such bad hay fever. Apologies. Okay, let's see. So it says, I also really took all my old music to be included in the children's genre, and now all I have is this new music. Okay. So okay. So let me ask you, this album, Make a Circle, this is specifically targeted at families, mothers, children, right? Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, I would change it. You have to change it somehow. It's going to have to be changed in some way, because although you don't have that many listeners, like, okay, you could say that you've only got 64 monthly listeners, right? I guess the question here is, do you further want to sort of promote this album? Because if you do release your new music under this name in this artist profile, some of especially if you release a track now, some of your fans are going to go listen to this music, and then they're going to be really confused. They're going to be like, okay, well, this is not really the artist for me, and they're not going to follow you. Okay, so that's going to have an impact. Then you also got the impact that that Spotify are not going to know what type of artist you are and what type of music you're playing or you're promoting. Yeah, so but it's a different genre, right? It's a different age range. So yeah, and I know these tracks because I listened to your video. Yeah, you basically it's going to be an issue. So I don't like, listen, you've only got 64 followers on here. I don't think it's an issue for you to start a new profile. Okay. I would maybe change this name, Jennifer Pascal. I don't know. There must be, yeah, maybe put your Jennifer J. Pascal or whatever, maybe your middle initial. Somehow something's going to have to change. Or I don't know if you can change the name here, and then if you're planning to promote more of your music under this sort of brand for children, then maybe change this to something else. Maybe change this one to Jennifer, then your initial, and then Pascal, and then your new music change to Jennifer Pascal. Promote it under that label. Yeah, you're gonna have to make a decision on that, because basically my advice is not to promote two different types of genres or two different type of focused type of music in one sort of Spotify album artist band name. You're just going to confuse things, and you're going to make it really hard for Spotify, as well as confuse all your fans as well, if you're trying to create a whole new fans. So tell me, do you have more sort of a lot more releases coming up, or are you planning to shift your whole focus to this new genre? Yeah. What's happening? Is the keyboard not working? You can talk if you want to. I'm not bothered. Like, yeah, I'm just like, you can unmute yourself. Come on.
Sorry. So this new genre, these are the new songs. They are for like it like extends on the positive message and like of the children's music, but it's really targeting for girls and women. So I'll probably continue on that, also moving into more like there's another record I'm working on more for like more spiritual music for like transitions.
Yeah.
So yes, more, this is the dilemma. I mean, maybe I'll just create new names, just a new identity. Cause I want to keep Jennifer Pascoe because I've won awards and I have community and my music's on radio, kids radio and things like that, that I don't want to I want to be able to have people find me. And I definitely feel like I want to maybe relaunch that. Cause when I launched this CD, I had a lot of success, but I had a life shift. So I couldn't do all this stuff with it. So I kind of dropped the ball after the release and I kind of just like focused on songwriting awards and things like that. And yeah, so I would like to potentially relaunch that. So.
Yeah, because this is quite a specific focus, you know?
Yeah. So if you look at Renee, my dear friends, Renee and Jeremy, well, that's Renee and friends, but Renee and Jeremy, they're like a really big family artist, children, and they're transitioning right now too. So it's interesting, but they have like over 1 million. I mean, they have millions of views on Spotify. So I need to ask them how they're transitioning into.
Who's that? What's their name?
It's called Renee, Renee, and Jeremy.
And Jeremy. Okay.
There they are. Yeah. So you can see they've been doing kids music for over 10 years. See.
Okay, yeah. They're very well established.
Very well established. So they're in the process of moving completely. They're not going to call themselves children. I think they used to say their music's for children of all ages. But see, they have covers coming out, but see, they're still on the kids' playlists.
Yeah, you know, each you have to make a decision based on your your circumstances. That's why exactly what I said still applies to these guys as well, but it might not as well. Like you got to look at it, right? So
yeah, I'm gonna look at that. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, it is, you know, the fact that you've only got 64 listeners makes it possible. But what's going to have to happen is for a while, you know, and the question is, if somebody comes to your artist profile and they listened and you've only released one track under the new sort of focus, with the new style, are they going to listen to any of the other tracks?
I mean, the other thing is, so the first track I was going to release is, I felt like was like a bridge from children to the new audience. So maybe I release Perfectly Imperfect, that's what it's called, under Jennifer Pascoe, and then change my name for the other songs, possibly. I don't know. I mean, I have to really think about this.
Okay, well, let's while this is like, it's always really good to, it's good. These questions are great to come up with, because it's a good time to sort of explore, like, what do you do? Like, what's the best advice in these circumstances?
Well, the interesting thing is, I will share this, that
Yeah.
I took down my first record because it was messing up the algorithm and getting into more connected to the children's world. So I think this is the interesting about Spotify. It's like, if you're focusing on Spotify, it really does matter. It matters because you can't.
It really does matter. Yeah.
The sound quality, they told me, is the sound quality. So yeah.
So many artists have changed their name for a variety of reasons. Chet Facker became what? Chet Facker became Nick Murphy to make his music feel more personal, less like a project. Excuse me.
I think it's kind of cool to like change your name, and just like, and the press you do around it, can just say Jennifer Pascal released a new record under the name. I think I kind of like the idea. Start really
Yeah.
fresh,
Yeah. If you want to move all your music over there, especially if you're independent with it, you can't let you change. So where did you release that music under? Did you release under the label?
Oh, my old music or this?
Mm.
No,
How did you release it? Through a distributor?
this music, the Make a
Yeah.
Circle.
Yeah.
I think through CD Baby. I did that one through CD Baby.
Okay. Yeah, this is something to really look into. How much music and excuse me, how much music are you going to plan to release?
I have 7 songs ready to go.
Okay.
I'll probably add to that, but 7.
And what's the target sort of audience?
Well, I'm working on that now. So, like women, they're empowerment songs. I mean, this is where it gets tricky. So 2 of the songs have harmonium. So they have kind of, but they're like poppy. And they're kind of like, I wrote them on harmonium. So they're more like, you can see singing them at a kirtan, but then the other songs are kind of folk pop. Every song has kind of a different feel to it.
Sure. But they're not children's songs, basically.
I didn't write them for children, no. But like I said, children can sing them and be totally, I mean, they could be some of the songs could be on like a children's playlist easily, because they're messaging.
They're poppy basically, huh?
They're poppy and very positive.
Okay.
I mean, they're not, I mean, then one is like, kind of an electronic song that's,
Okay,
No.
should we listen to this? What this guy said?
The question I get asked most often on the DIY Musician
Can you hear that?
yeah.
Okay.
blog is something along the lines of, should I change my artist name because my music's changing a little bit? And 99% of the time my answer is no, don't change your artist name. Unless you're going from like a polka band to metal, your fans will stick with you. Like, think of Joni Mitchell and Bob Dylan and David Bowie and all these people who, change was the constant of their career. So first of all, you have a brand, right? Are you gonna jettison all the fans you've made just because you changed a little bit? They will stick with you. Second, and maybe more importantly to the modern music industry, is that your catalog is gonna get scattered across every different new band name you choose. Think of John Cougar Mellencamp. He's got John Cougar, John Mellencamp, and John Cougar Mellencamp. So if you wanna find his music, you might find it, or you might have to hop from profile to profile. Don't do that. Keep your catalog all together under one band name. Another thing is, do you really want to manage different social profiles and different email accounts for every different artist name you ever come up with? Save yourself a headache. Just keep all your fans together. So I've been saying that you're not going to lose fans. It's kind of a lie. You might change and you might lose some people, but that's okay. That's also normal. One day you might come back around to making music in the genre you were playing when your fan first fell in love with you. They'll get back on board. You don't need to jump ship, jettison what you've made, and change artist names every time you change. You're a human being. You're allowed to change. You're allowed to be dynamic. Be different, but still be you.
Okay, well, interesting perspective. I totally get what he's saying. I totally get that idea. And I would still consider doing something in a different artist name for your new stuff. But I think definitely you need to do a little bit more research and just get really clear on that question. Reason being is that one, you don't have a lot of, it's not like you've promoted that other. Are you going to release more music for children in that sort of way? Do you think? Jennifer?
Probably not, but you never know. I mean, I have a nice email list, and it's all mothers. But listen, the mothers can listen to my new music. You know what I mean? Like, it's for everybody. So I think, yeah, it's probably best to, no, I'm probably not going to release a children's record per se.
Yeah. You know, I don't know. It's, in some ways, it's just easier not to start a new a new artist profile. I don't know. You're gonna have to feel into it. Use that woman's intuition.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I will. It's kind of I have to say, it's kind of I like what he was saying, is that as an artist, you should, like, Lisa Loeb has her I know a lot of people in the children's music world who are not children's artists, and they release records for families, and children. Look at Ziggy Marley, a lot of people. So you kind of should be allowed to have fun and create different kinds of music.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's a good perspective. It's just with Spotify, you're gonna have to find a way to, and maybe it's not a problem, because in fact you haven't done a lot of sort of, this artist profile is not super established anyway. So yeah, I think in your case, either way would be fine. Just because you haven't got, like, there's only 64 listeners on that Spotify profile anyway. So it's not going to take too long, if you were going to promote a new track, to build up a whole new set of listeners in a different genre or a different sort of demographic, to be able to overcome whichever, list Spotify have, like, built up over here. So yeah, I think yeah, make a decision on that. But yeah, have a think. And it's it's important to understand why you're making that decision, just to consider what the implications of it are. I think, for example, we look at Tallulah Randall. She's released quite a few albums. She's quite prolific, actually, in terms of, so I wonder if she changed her. Yeah, so look at this. So, like, 2009, she was doing this style of music. 2011, this style of music as well. These are much more sort of like poppy type music. These albums, I think they're more like mainstream sounds. Liminal was almost like a crossover type of album. And then she's gone, like, more and more into quite spiritual sort of alternative, although it has like, like a more contemporary sort of feel to the music as well. It's not like completely mantra or completely alternative or completely medicine music. So yeah, so definitely I think, she's as far as I've heard, she's found it quite hard to shift her audience from the more poppy mainstream type music to her style. But yeah, Yeah, it's like an interesting sort of conversation to sort of explore, like what are artists' experiences in having shifted genres or shifted styles of music through a career on Spotify. Has it been successful? Who has been successful with it? Also with artists at different stages, like if you've got like 200, or like your artist Renee, 150,000 listeners a month. That's a lot, it's a that big. That's big. That's pretty substantial. If this artist Tallulah's only 3,000, and if we look at somebody like Ayla Shafa, she's 263 and she's massive. So who were your guys? You say Renee and Jeremy? 163. Yeah, that's pretty huge. It's pretty big. It's a big listenership. There's a lot in there, and this is really focused on children. Is it right?
Yeah, they were below. They've always, it's all children except they started doing. They did a cover album. You'll see here, "Sweet Child of Mine," and then their last record is not children.
Okay.
It's on the end there. That
This
one,
one here.
Let the Day Reveal. That one, and then Let the Day Reveal on the other one. So Ever and Always and Let the Day Reveal. I mean, look, families can listen to it. It's not like it's not children, but just not targeted towards children.
Sure.
Although like Lucky Star, look at that Lucky Star. Some of the covers are great for kids,
Yeah. Whereas this is not really focused on kids, is it? So do you it'll be interesting for you to have that chat with them and just see what their experience is in the transition between different styles of music.
Yeah, they're working on it right now.
Yeah. Be good to have that experience. Okay, cool. So we're at an hour. Do you have any other questions?
Nope, that's it.
That's
like,
How are you feeling? How are you feeling with your release? When is your next release coming up?
well, it's supposed to be September 29. I don't know, one of those days, 29th maybe. But I'm rethinking everything now. Because now, before I was going to do a single and then an album, and now I'm just going to do. I'm definitely going to start with 2 singles. I think I'll do singles. I think that's what I'm going to do. And then I want to release the album on Bandcamp, because it's going to go with the show. It's not just, there's like a concept, you know what I mean? It's like building, it's like there's a workshop built into it. So I'll do that as well. So
well, that's great to release an album to Bandcamp, and you can get people to support you directly, because you'll make sales on Bandcamp. You'll get, it'll produce revenue.
yeah, it'll be good. And maybe that will be like to my mailing list, and I just don't know when. So I'll just definitely do the single, and then it's good. This has been great. Very enlightening. Thank you. So it's all just kind of wrapping my head around just releasing singles, which seems a lot less pressure than doing, releasing a whole album.
Yeah.
More,
Yeah, it's more in fact, it's more work in some respects, but it's also like it keeps you current, it keeps you like working on stuff. There's always something exciting coming up. There's another release coming up, and you'll get a lot more out of it in terms of, if you want to build a career in that style of music, you'll get a lot more out of it over time than you would doing one album where you just release the album and then it's done and then it's like gone. And you're like, oh no, I have to record new music all the time. And
yeah, definitely.
And at the same time, you can release to Bandcamp, and you can put it on, you can even put your album on SoundCloud and have it out there. And if people want to, download it and pay for it, then they can.
Yeah. Well, would that mess it up if you do that first? I mean, not first, but like, you do a single, then you release the album, and then you're releasing the singles to Spotify. Does that mess it up? Because then people will have your I guess it's not gonna mess it up because I'm gonna want to have like build a new audience on Spotify anyway. So all the
Yeah,
people.
because remember, Spotify, like Bandcamp, your only audience is the audience that you can personally sort of access. It's going to
Right.
be your mailing list, your Facebook page, your Instagram account. That's
Right.
going to be that. All those people are also going to have a Spotify account as well. Okay,
Right.
which you'll still get some of that thing, but with Spotify, you get access to a worldwide audience.
Right.
So a billion
Right.
people who are, however many it is who have Spotify, well, you can now then promote to that bigger audience.
Right. Yeah.
And that'll happen like quite like organically as well. Over time, people will put it on playlists, people will connect with it. Spotify will promote it to various people, and you'll grow your audience quite organically as well. It's possible to put it on Spotify, not do any work, and it grows organically by itself. Like, there's no ways you're going to do that with Bandcamp. You're going to put it on Bandcamp. Nobody's ever going to find it unless you send
Right.
them an email with a link, right?
Yeah.
So, but with Spotify, there's that possibility of growing like organically, and it'll probably happen over time, but not to the extent that it would if you also promote it as well.
Right.
So you get on more playlists, there's so many different, you could work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week promoting your music on Spotify and stuff, and you would never stop.
Yeah.
For example, like, the point is, like, the more playlists you can get onto, who are playlists specifically in your genre, the more exposure you're going to get, and the more streams you're going to get, and the more listens you're going to get. Because playlist advertising or playlist promotion is like a major strategy in Spotify. So, for example, if you search for let's say medicine music, and we do a search, and we go to playlists. See, all these people have curated these playlists based on this theme. Just say medicine music theme, right?
Yeah.
So they've created all these playlists. Like, one particular one strategy, if you had time and you wanted to put the time into it, based on your theme or your genre, okay, you would do that search, and then you would actually go and find these people. You would search these people out and ask if you can, promote your song to them to be put on their playlist. Because, for example, this person, okay, it's only got 25 likes, but you might find some of these playlists have massive sort of followers. Let's see. So, like, there'll be thousands of these playlists that people are creating, and you could search through these playlists. Like this one, for example, ayahuasca medicine music playlist, 2,337 likes. That means that 2,337 people are listening to this playlist. If you, for example, contacted that person through social media, created a relationship with them, and actually asked them to put your new song onto their playlist, and they said yes, and you actually got on their playlist, you would get a ton of streams from being on this playlist. And that's certainly a very viable sort of strategy. The other way, which is a really good sort of strategy for promoting your music through playlists, is to go to this particular this is called I've totally forgotten it now. I couldn't believe it. What is it? I've just had a total blank, so sorry. I'm gonna have to come back to you on that one. So don't go there, because there's nothing there. Anyway, there is a particular website which has curators of playlists that all gather on this particular website, right? Oh yeah, sorry, that reminds me. Okay, so Submit Hub.
Submit Hub, right?
Okay, have you heard of it?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, so this is fantastic, okay? Because obviously you can find some random chap in Indonesia and pay him like £20 and get on 5 million playlists and get 5 million streams, who are people that would never, who are all robots and would never listen to your music again. And that's going to completely, one, it can shut down your account, and two, can completely mess up your algorithms because Spotify, are going to shut down your account. Okay, so you can do that, but it's not suggested. Another more organic and more like authentic way or strategy is always to go through Submit Hub. So Submit Hub, you go here, you submit a song, you've got a new track, you submit the song, you pay $5 or $10 or whatever it is, okay, and then you choose which of the playlist curators you're going to submit your song to. So you're going to choose the playlists that are within your genre, because you definitely don't want people to listen to your track if they're not going to be continuous fans. Like you might get, for example, for some reason or whatever, you get on a pop playlist and somehow your one song just fits into that playlist, and you get some people that listen to it and save it who are pop musicians or pop fans, but they never listen to any of your other songs. That's going to completely mess up your Spotify algorithms. Because Spotify are trying to put people into boxes. The clearer the boxes they can put you into, the easier and the better experience for their listeners, because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get the best experience for the listeners, but also the best experience for you, because when they know exactly the type of sort of fan that listens to your music, then they can keep on putting your music in front of the best fans. So you want to try as much as possible keep that relationship, that clarity really clear with Spotify. So you're going to go onto here, you're going to find like curators of playlists that have very clearly defined sort of genres that fit within your music, and you're going to submit it to them specifically. And what this does is saves you all that time of going to social media, trying to find their contact details, contacting them privately, and doing that whole process. And this can be very, very, very successful. So if you've got a little bit of advertising dollars or a little bit of money to invest, then you should definitely put your music through Spotify. Especially if you've got like, that's more like, it's like, conventional music. That's not like totally out there. Because like, with medicine music and some folk music and stuff like that, it's actually quite hard to find sort of, playlists, curators that are focused on that particular genre. Most of the playlists are focused on like dance music or pop music or stuff like that. But, for example, for your children's songs, like this could be really good. Could be good to find somebody on your children's songs to get on their playlist, and you'll get a lot of streams from that. It's a very, very good strategy. So I think we can leave it there. It's like an hour and a half. Thanks for your time. Hope it's been valuable for you. You're chatting there. You're very welcome. And thanks to everybody out there if you're listening on the recording. And yeah, that's all I got for today. Tomorrow, I'm going to tell you about an opportunity to join the Sacred Sound community. So this is where a group of musicians, we're all getting together. We've got a community, we've got a course that we're doing regular meetups, we're doing regular trainings. And so we want to give you the best support that we can give you in order to help you grow and be a supportive community in this sort of task of getting your music out to the most people possible. So I'm going to tell you all about that tomorrow. Are you excited? Yay. Thank you. Have a good night. Ciao. Bye.